are moments that captivate our hearts and rejuvenate our souls. A night that fuels our imagination and takes us back to the enchanting days of our youth. An event that makes us believe in magic and miracles and reminds us never to relinquish our dreams. This is WrestleMania, a place of wonder, where moments echo through the ages and memories are indelibly etched in the annals of time. This is WrestleMania, a testament to excellence, where men defy limitations to forge an enduring legacy. This is WrestleMania, the showcase of the immortals, a celebration of life.
I think this is fake.
You can't say that.
I can say that.
Wrestling's not fake!
It's still real to me, damn it!
The unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. This ain't WCW. This ain't Monday Night Raw. This ain't SmackDown. This ain't even WWE.
Do I have everybody's attention now?
The recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
You're listening to Marks on Commentary.
You are listening to the Undertaker of podcasts. This is Marks on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I'm Sean.
it wouldn't be an episode of Sean unless he missed his cue.
Yes.
All right.
There's a cue card in my room off in the distance. Somebody's like, "Oh, it's your turn. You have to say your name now." And the cue card was upside down.
So this is typically when we open the show with explaining our long absence, and I'm going to leave that one up to Jason.
To say the least, I think me and Eddie have been pretty busy over the last year.
Busy.
Yeah, you've done some stuff.
Yeah, you know. I have a.
You can mention the lesser important thing first, and then swing around for the more important thing.
Now you have me on the spot because I don't know which is which.
I would hope it's pretty relevant, pretty simple to understand.
I mean, I have a 10-day-old that's honey, right?
That was probably the more important one.
How old is he? He's 10 days, right? Or is he 9 days?
10.
He's 10 days. We have confirmation. He is 10 days old. Yes, I had a child. So what was the lesser important thing that I was supposed to mention?
The album that you worked on over the summer.
Oh, well, way to sully my artistry, Jason. Yes, well, I
I would think that your child comes before your art, but...
well, you would think that now, wouldn't you? Art before children. That's always been my motto. No, I recorded an album back in, I think it was April of last year. It came out Memorial Day weekend last year. It was as successful as the show was probably going to be. So, it had its good, 24 hours of success before it declined, or should I say it nosedived into obscurity, but it was a good 24 hours.
People can still get it, right? It is available.
Yeah, it is on Spotify. Just look up Snuff Film Society because, it's just a catchy name for an album. I mean, nothing says I want to listen to this like, murder porn, but
I do foresee it though being remade into a Kids Bop type of thing.
I never even entertained the idea of, pitching Kids Bop and saying, what would go great on one of your compilations is a song entitled Needle Juice.
Yes.
Bruno Mars is on there. What was it? Uptown Funk, when he sings about, white gold, and he's essentially singing about cocaine. There's a Kids Bop version of that.
Yeah, to them it's probably all powdered sugar on their donuts and fucking getting a sugar rush.
Yeah, it's Pixie Sticks. I don't know if that's still a thing where you snort your Pixie Sticks, but
I would hope so.
Children are so evolved now that by the time my son's old enough, it's not even going to be like a tangible Pixie Stick. It's probably going to be an app on your phone.
Yeah.
So
because that is a thing. Like they have that thing where it's you could watch like a visual and it's supposed to give you like a sort of high or something where it's essentially inducing. It's just like watching Pokemon. It's just inducing a seizure on you.
So go ahead, but break down your big news. Obviously, you've kind of spoiled it already, but
did I spoil it? No, yeah. So I have a 10-year-old named Dylan.
You have a 10-year-old?
A 10-day-old. Yeah, my wife's gonna have some questions for me later. Yeah, if you don't have children, there's this thing called baby brain, which essentially renders you, for lack of a politically correct word, it renders you retarded. And I've been dealing with that. The best example of this is I work in a building that has 2 floors, and I spent 15 minutes, no lie, on the elevator, pushing the 1 button and wondering why I couldn't get to the 2nd floor. So.
Awesome.
So I mean, not to sully the great news of Jason and Sean here, but I believe Jason has some news.
No, and they're probably of some interest to the show. First one, it's kind of been no secret for the last year. I've kind of been working on a comic book, wrestling related. I'm hoping, maybe I can get it out this year. I was hoping to get it out. Actually, I said a year ago today that I'd like to have it out by now, but it's a long process, and I'm hoping to be finished soon. But
what it really is, fellow listeners, is Jason just that the creative process. He doesn't understand the creative process. He finds that children are more important than the creative process. And I'm finding this is detrimental to Jason's whole concept of artistry. If Jason wasn't so, convinced that children should come before man's artistry, then, this comic book might actually be available on newsstands. But
yeah, so
alas, Jason appreciates children more than he appreciates artistry, which is the polar opposite of me.
Yes.
I only have kids so that they can, when they're up all night and their mother's trying to get sleep, that I have someone to hang out and watch the network with, which was. Consequently, the turn of events last night, I watched WrestleMania 18 with my yesterday 9-day-old son. So,
nice.
I didn't watch it with my 10-year-old.
What is he like?
There's a reason why I don't talk to my 10-year-old.
Totally.
Because he doesn't speak English.
Like Jason, he didn't appreciate my artistry, so I just abandoned him. I think you can leave babies at firehouses. Why not 10-year-olds? I mean, you guys have seen This Is Us, right? Thing. And like that, the show just got entirely too awkward for Sean.
Well, I was going to mention the scene in the Super Mario Brothers movie with the baby being abandoned on the steps, but, whatever.
And that was Sean's big news, that he still remembers the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Hey, I'm going to try and make sure everybody remembers that movie, because the moment this world starts to forget the Super Mario Brothers movie, I don't want to be on this earth anymore.
So, as part of a Marks on Commentary sort of offshoot, Sean's going to start a petition to get the Super Mario Brothers movie immortalized in the registry of film or whatever. It's when they take like the most historically significant films and they preserve them in like a museum. Sean's going to do that with the Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo starred video game adaptation.
You know what else I'm also going to do that for? Friggin' Captain Ron with Kurt Russell.
You mean that's not already a thing yet?
Screw anybody that doesn't think that Captain Ron's not a good movie.
That's a good movie. In comparison to Cabin Boy, I mean, I don't really know if you have a leg to stand on, Sean.
Hey, Captain Ron's good, man. It's like if Snake Plissken decided to just go on vacation.
It's funny you mention that, because I believe it was almost the anniversary of when I scratched my cornea, in which case I actually looked like Captain Ron for like a week.
Too bad Martin Short didn't come over and ask how you were doing. Oh, dude, that'd be sick. We need to try and start a petition to get us to hang out with Martin Short. I'd have him teach me the Ed Grimley dance.
Now, I do kind of want to touch on this because this is, my version of doing show research is going on the Dirt Sheet websites while I'm bothering you guys with small talk. It's really just a smokescreen to distract you from the fact that I haven't done my appropriate legwork here. And it looks like Hall of Famer Jim Ross will, in fact, be at WrestleMania on Sunday night. And he's going to and he's going to be doing commentary. They're not
that's
giving
awesome.
away exactly what match he's doing, but the guess here is that it's either going to be for the. Now, is the Goldberg Lesnar, is that set in stone as the main event of Mania?
I'm seeing conflicting reports today that it actually might be Undertaker Reigns in the main.
Now, I can merely speculate on this, but if Reigns and Taker becomes the main event, I mean, it's assumed or surmised every WrestleMania for the past 10 years, but could we figure that this could in fact be Taker's last Mania?
Yes.
I don't know. I still think he's going to go until he can't go anymore.
Well,
I also know
we're getting close, but
well, I know when it came down to like retirement talk with him or whatever, he went on like record saying he doesn't want to have some big old Ric Flair send off like he got on that Raw. He would actually prefer to literally just go out on his back and ride off into the sunset, as they say. So I would not be surprised if in his last match he loses. So
essentially,
will I be bummed out? I mean, I'll be bummed out. I will, because it's like, well, what the shit? He's been my favorite since I started freaking watching wrestling. Will I be bummed out that he, is retired by Roman Reigns? I'll be more than bummed out. I will probably break my television. But it's after seeing how he looked this past Monday, there's a part of me that's just like, okay, Mark, it's time to go hang out with your hot wife and call it a day.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually reading now that there's a lot of conjecture going on about what the main event Sunday night's going to be, and it does look like backstage that it's going towards Reigns and Undertaker. So
sorry. I was going to say, although part of me really wants it to be Brock and Goldberg, simply because I know it'll be a short match, and that means I get to go to bed at a decent time. Because last year, the Triple H and Roman Reigns match went on way too friggin' long. I didn't get enough sleep. I felt like shit at work the next day because I had to get up at 4.
I actually think that's going to go long. I think, all this has been built up. Brock's going to pull something out of his back pocket, whether it's a no disqualification match right off the bat or something. Somehow it's going to be more than a couple minutes, I think.
Well, no, it's interesting because if they flip-flop these two matches, because I just assumed if Taker Reigns wasn't the main event, then it was going to be second to last.
Yeah.
Now, if they flip-flop these matches due to the fact that Undertaker hasn't been in his prime, and really, I mean, he's been able to make his appearances, but definitely not in the shape he's been in previous matches. I think, could we, kind of guess that perhaps the Lesnar Goldberg match, that could probably go on longer than anticipated, and in fact it'd be the Taker Reigns match that's relatively short.
That's it. That's interesting. Maybe that's what's hindering like the final decision on what gets the main event spot.
Well, because I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, it says here, but also it's pretty much common knowledge that the most anticipated match of any WrestleMania, typically when the card isn't stacked, like this year, I think it's fair to say I'm pretty disappointed, or relatively disappointed with the card. But
I'm happier than last year's. I thought last year's lacked. There's more invested interest in certain matches. Maybe they're not as high profile as I would have liked, but I think overall that there's something of each that you go, okay, I would enjoy that. I would enjoy this part of it, which last year I didn't feel like we really got much, if at any.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much what it's looking like right now. As of right now, it looks like that Taker Reigns is probably going to main event the show. Which, if you had to guess on how long it would last, do either of you have like in your mind? Because I'm saying 10 minutes tops.
Yeah, 10, 15.
Yeah,
Depends
I was gonna go with 15.
Well, because it's been kind of hinted by Paul Heyman and even Lesnar himself, and I know Goldberg's even mentioned it, that they're looking for like a knockdown drag out battle between those two.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
think
surprised. Is there a
this is the-
stipulation on it?
Not yet, but I'm sure they'll figure something out. They'll do the WrestleMania 17 match with Taker and Triple H where they knocked out the ref for 10 minutes, and then as soon as Triple H goes for the pin, the ref wakes up.
Oh, I'm expecting this one to spill out of the ring. Well, okay,
Yeah.
so we're kind of jumping around here because Jason was kind enough to give us an itinerary, but I mean, we might as well get the predictions out of the way because you mentioned
Sure.
Triple H. Thoughts on Triple H and Seth Rollins?
I'm kind of looking forward to this. Because I think this will be the street fight like that you want to see. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's a non-sanctioned match, and the last time, and I mean, I could be way off, but the last non-sanctioned match Triple H was in, that was against Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam,
Yeah.
correct?
I believe so.
I mean, that was a really, really good match.
I foresee Triple H bringing in another guy to do his dirty work for him and
Yeah,
pissing everybody off.
I agree with that. Well, I imagine that's where they'll stick Samoa Joe because unfortunately he's not even on this show right now.
Well, I was just thinking a bold prediction would be one of two scenarios. Is either Samoa Joe comes in and they beat the crap out of Rollins, and then Finn Balor comes back and makes his big appearance.
Yeah.
Or somehow it turns into a tag team match with Samoa Joe and Triple H against Rollins and Balor. Because, I mean, I don't know if it's a work so much that Rollins is still hurt. And typically when you got a guy that's less than 100%, that's usually when they throw him in a tag team equation so the other guy can kind of carry his tag team partner.
I don't know if I like it. I think at WrestleMania I just want guy versus guy one-on-one. You know what I mean? A tag match is like no different than anything I'd see on Raw.
Right.
So
It's, I'm just kind of speculating here because, I mean, would it be more exciting to have just run-ins by both guys, or would you want them? I mean, considering that this would be, Samoa Joe's first WrestleMania, he's not even on the card.
if it's the only option to get them on the card, I guess, but I don't know.
Stranger things have happened. Like I said, I mean, there was obviously The Rock last year was that last year, Rock and Cena, when they did their tag team match last year?
Yeah, that was last year.
Okay. Because that was like the big surprise, and obviously it was a squash. It was like a 5-minute nothing of a squash match, but I mean it was basically their. It was essentially their way to just squeeze Cena into the card so he wouldn't have to miss a WrestleMania run. All right, now how are we?
What is all that clicking and clanging noises? What the fuck is that? Somebody typing a bunch?
Yeah, that would probably be me.
Are you burping your?
It literally.
Yes, I'm burping my 10-year-old that I didn't tell my wife about.
Oh.
No, just audio, right?
Yeah, it's just audio.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You know what? I don't feel like getting hit in the face by my wife, so I'm not
Go
gonna.
ahead.
My wife is she's got the breast pump out, so that's why she was asking if this was audio or visual, because you guys be getting a little bit of a peep show. So this is our live. This is adulthood for those of you who are eagerly awaiting the next step in your life. It's a lot of breast pumping and a lot of burping and a lot of hiding 10-year-old children that you married your wife under false pretenses about. So
The next step in my life is on a broken staircase.
this just got dark real quick now, didn't it?
Did you say broken?
Yes. Jeez!
Well, again, not to jump around, but so I was reading too that Jeff Hardy's denying that they're gonna jump ship over to WWE. I mean, any thoughts on that one? Because I mean, this doesn't incorporate into.
They were probably telling us for that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw there was post earlier where I guess Rebby Sky, his wife, was walking around Access in the shopping area. With the
No
child,
way!
So, yeah. So
And I heard they changed the tag team title match to a ladder match just so they could do something.
I'm personally hoping that like Gallows gets up at the top and tries to go for the gold, and then he's just smacked in the face with like a drone or something.
This is what literally this is what I have been saying since it's been rumored that they left TNA under, begrudgingly they left. I said if anything, if you're gonna tease them, like if you're not gonna bring them out right away, or even if you did, the drone has to make an appearance.
Yeah, but I think if you do that, you run the risk of hearing like "We want Hardy" chants the rest of the night.
Yeah,
because you basically told everybody they're coming, but you're not getting them tonight. Maybe you'll get them tomorrow. You'll have to wait and see. You're gonna have chants the rest of the night.
Then I'm thinking that basically what you said, I think, or Sean, I think the funniest goddamn thing in the world would be if they're up at the top of the ladder, they've got the belts in their hands, like the match is pretty much over, and then they just kind of get distracted. You see a drone circling around the belts.
Mm-hmm. And then you could have Matt like on the Jumbotron being like, WrestleMania, I knew you'd come.
I mean, even if, say Gallows gets the belts and then the drone comes out circling around him, and then, you have Hardy on the Titantron or whatever, they can still at least make an appearance and get that big WrestleMania pop without having to be in the match.
Yeah.
Although if JBL was commentating, he'd probably ruin the whole moment and be like, what the hell was that? Or he would talk for 5 minutes about all their accomplishments, like people, like he's a fucking walking history book.
He's a 2-time European champion. Let me tell you.
Oh, and by the way, I don't like people that have mental disorders. Fucking asshole.
Oh, yeah, I was reading about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not like it's news to anybody that JBL is like one of the biggest bullies in the WWE locker room. I mean, for Christ's sakes, like Blue Meanie.
I kind of felt over the last couple of years that he like tamed his shit down, but then now it's like, oh, all right, there he is again.
Well, I kind of went down the proverbial WWE rabbit hole, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard they created this whole Be a Star program to try and cover up how much of a backstage asshole JBL was to everybody, like anybody and everybody.
Really?
I would not be. Because I'm sure you heard the story about what he did to somebody in the showers, right?
Oh, sure.
No, I don't think I heard that one.
I don't remember if it was. I don't remember if it was Christian or somebody else that had like mentioned the story, but JBL had actually like got behind a dude in the showers because I guess this person was like accused of doing something to somebody like of the rape variety, but it wasn't like officially known or not. And JBL just goes in the locker room and is like all up on their hiney and smacking their ass and making them feel all sorts of uncomfortable and being a huge weirdo.
Weirdly, I mean, that's actually kind of a rumor that I could totally see being the case. Now,
and we also know what type of porn JBL likes because he acts like the fucking muscly women bullshit.
That has to be a joke. He has to know like what he's sending out, right?
Well, he deleted it like right after and just re-uploaded one without that fucking tab open.
Yeah.
That's pretty. I don't know, man. I'm still. I completely forgot about that, but I remember when I first saw that, I was just like, "How do you like? Don't you check your shit before you post something on Twitter?" Now, I did want to ask, because I'm not fully updated on this. So the kickoff show is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Who's actually on the kickoff show? And I'm assuming the cruiserweight matches because why not have it? Well, yeah, why not have it on the actual show? And I mean, unless they plan on having that match be on the kickoff and doing like a quick like 5 or 10 minute thing with the rest of the 205 guys.
I'm kind of looking forward to Max Mini and the Lucha Libre midgets. That's what they should have.
Oh, speaking of Lucha, not to digress too much, but have either of you guys watched Lucha Underground on Netflix yet?
I've seen. Nope. I saw episodes when it first came out. I haven't really dove into the whole show.
I'll be honest with you, I tried to watch the first episode. It is so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single one.
It's so weird. Like, I thought it was supposed to be like a straightforward like wrestling show,
No.
but it's got like it's like almost like a drama. Like, what was that show that Bruce Lee's daughter and Brandon Lee's sister used to host on Fox back in the day? Do you guys remember that show?
Bruce Lee's daughter.
Oh God, she was like one of the commentators. I'll have to look it up, but it's almost like similar to the show that she used to be like a host on.
I don't know, but Netflix recently added the entire series of the real Ghostbusters.
That was going to be my follow up. You know, my brief non wrestling related. Yes, all 7 seasons of the real Ghostbusters are officially on Netflix.
Hooray!
Oh, okay. So it was WMAC Masters was the show. It only had 13 episodes. And it used to be one of those things like after Saturday morning cartoons around like noon or 1.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. And they had the belt, and there would be like coins or whatever to go in the belt or something like that.
Yep.
Okay. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, because it was like one of those like when the little kids, like when cartoons are over and little kids have lives and they go out and play with their friends. Like this is kind of for like the losers that are older that, you know, don't leave the house and which is why I knew about it. Now, what else is on the kickoff? Is the SmackDown women's title on the kickoff, or is the Raw women's title?
Supposedly there was a lot of backlash from the fans, and that's gotten removed or put back onto the main show.
So it's looking like, so it's probably gonna be the cruiserweight, and I think I'm reading here that the Andre the Giant Battle Royal is gonna be on the kickoff, which it should, because that's such a useless throwaway match.
Yeah, I mean they can make it more meaningful. I mean, for nothing, they've done better with it this year, in the fact that you might not like Baron Corbin, but at least that is the logical progression in a character is you win the Battle Royal, and a year later is in the Intercontinental title match. So,
and is it just me, but does the Andre the Giant statue that they're like this prestigious award that they're supposed to win after, does it just get crappier and crappier looking every year?
I have to see it again.
Like they had it on, I think it was on Raw. They had it, and or Raw, SmackDown, one of the two, and it just looks so crappy. Like even they know, like this gimmick match is running its course.
It looks like there'd be chocolate underneath.
Well, that's essentially what it looked like. It looked like a giant like gold wraps under the giant, like a giant chocolate Easter bunny, except Andre the Giant.
Everybody roll up. Look.
I mean, do you guys have any predictions on who's going to wind up being the victor in that?
Shelton Benjamin.
It's probably got to be Braun. It has to
I would
be.
think so. I mean, we get it. Big Show's about the same size. He's like this generation's Under the Giant, but he really doesn't need to win that match.
He already did.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I mean.
And
like,
it fell flat when he did it. I think him winning it actually kind of killed it.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Because imagine what we'd be doing sitting here talking about Damian Sandow had he won that year, like he probably should have. And I don't know where he would have fit in this year, but a tag title match this year or something. I don't know. I think we would care a little bit more than we do right now about the Battle Royal.
That's just a guy. I feel so bad for that guy. Because they just couldn't get his character. Like, they just did not know how to book that poor guy.
They probably just didn't want it. They just have that thing where they just don't want certain guys.
No, that's entirely true. I would agree with that. No.
Oh, I even saw what became of his character in TNA. I mean, because I heard he was going there, so I figured, I'll watch whatever he was doing. I don't even like him on that.
No. He's got some, like, flamboyant character now, which is apparently what he wanted to do in WWE, so it kind of leaves me scratching my head, but maybe I'll figure it out.
So, moving on to the women's title matches. Now, I know, because I love the idea of, like, the SmackDown Women's Invitational, where essentially they just empty out the locker room on Alexa Bliss, which I thought would have been awesome, and almost like a gauntlet-style match, and now it's a six-pack challenge, which I was kind of like, oh, that sucks.
I wonder if that rule is still in there, like any available SmackDown woman.
I don't know, because to me it seems like when Naomi came out, it was basically like, okay, now it's a 6-pack challenge.
Yeah.
If there are any available SmackDown women, they should have my number. Hey! Ah!
They'll have a match next year, the Sean Springett SmackDown Women's Invitational.
Right.
Now, do you guys see Alexa Bliss retaining, or do we see this going back to Naomi? Because a part of me kind of wants to see it go back to Naomi as much as I love Alexa Bliss.
I don't know. I kind of think Alexa will walk out of this.
I mean, it'd be great for her character as a heel.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have to be like a really great heel finish to the match. But yeah, it's going to be one of the two.
I don't know. I kind of think it's either Alexis or it's they're going to pick somebody random that you didn't even know was going to be added to this match. So,
I mean, that I just can't see it going on Natalia, like, at all.
Yeah. But you know what? Weirder things have happened. So maybe, they like to get people like their WrestleMania moments now. They almost kind of force it to happen. So maybe she's the Zack Ryder of this year.
Well, if she did win, that would be my thought. She would be the Zack Ryder. Because, I mean, the next logical decision would be Mickie James, considering that she just made her comeback, so to speak, with the company. She just returned to the company. So, I mean...
But, I mean, there's Asuka, if they decide to pull that trigger and throw her on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, that provided how things go tomorrow at TakeOver.
Sure.
Which, again, brings up Shinsuke Nakamura, who allegedly is scheduled to show up at the post-Mania SmackDown Live. So it's looking like he's probably not going to get the belt from Bobby Roode at TakeOver, and he is finally getting called up to the main roster.
But you never know. Triple H is actually pretty smart in how he's been booking the NXT title in relation to guys coming up. You think it's going to be this time. Oh, he's going to lose it now. And, they do it at a house show. We never even thought it was going to happen. So,
well, that's true.
Smart about that.
It's true because, I mean, the thing that I actually just forgot was Kevin Owens was still NXT champion when he got called up to the main roster.
Exactly.
Which was interesting. So, yeah, I mean, that's an excellent point because I completely forgot that. Like, oh, yeah, that's right. Kevin Owens was... Which brings up Kevin Owens and Jericho. Obviously, I think Kevin Owens is taking the U.S. title with that one.
Yeah, I think that. Or, if anything, Jericho will get the win and he'll lose it the next night on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that, too. Thoughts on that one, Sean?
I concur.
I think it'll be a fun match, though. I think they're ready to go. I think they're in a spot where they can draw a lot of attention and, they may put on a classic. Who knows?
I mean, is there a particular... Because, I mean, I'm kind of jumping around the card here because, I mean, we still have the Raw Women's title match, which... Again, Bayley's been kind of a disappointment to me since she's been called up to the main Raw. There's just something... She just feels like she's too stiff in the ring. Like, she's just... I feel like that might have been a little premature. Like, yeah, I know it's the...
I don't think they let her organically come into her own. It was just like, we're going to do it on Raw. And then, okay, you ended the streak of Charlotte, and it really didn't mean anything at the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
You put all that equity into something, and then it didn't really play out to anything worthwhile. Had she done it at Mania, you made a big deal out of it, and I don't know. The whole division's kind of flat right now. SmackDown, I think, is the better of the two women's representation. So.
Now, I actually just want to mention this because I just kind of came across this. We mentioned the Under the Giant Battle Royal and, Big Show being in that match. And, how it was kind of useless for him to win the first time, but even more so if they give it to him this time. His contract's up next February, I believe. And then he's done. He's retired. He's out. So I guess he was. I'm just reading here that when he was on the Jim Norton and Sam Roberts Sirius show, he announced that this will be, in fact, his last WrestleMania. Yeah. Could that somehow play into who wins that Battle Royal now?
I don't think so. I think Show knows. It doesn't make sense. What's it do for Show? Nothing. What's it do for the next guy? He doesn't need that moment to say, "Hey, I won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal." So.
Now, I think I already know the answer to this, but are either of you remotely disappointed that Shaquille O'Neal will not be having a match at WrestleMania this year?
Yes, because I wanted to come out dressed as Shazam.
I wanted him to pull some Shaq Fu moves out.
I was actually going to say, I kind of want to see him come out. Actually, no, I kind of want to see him come out dressed as Steel.
Just as long as we get to show dressed up as a New Year's baby, because we never actually got to see that happen.
I mean, ideally, I would want Shaquille O'Neal to come out dressed as Steel, have Big Show, all right, New Year's Baby, or perhaps when he did his Hulk Hogan impression at Judgment Day of 2000, with the special guest referee of Sinbad dressed as Shazam.
They should have like Mini-Me be the special guest referee.
As long as Big Show is carted down to the ring via a cop car with a hearse behind it, then I'm all for it.
Okay, so you guys mentioned this. So Sean and I and Jason were joking because, Sean had posted, all through the week they've been showing pictures of them setting up the elaborate WrestleMania, stage. And I remember the first thing I thought when I saw it was like, that ramp is really, really long. How in the hell is Undertaker going to walk his dead ass down that ramp?
Yeah.
And then,
just his entrance make him want to retire.
And it's entirely possible that that's why they changed that match to the main event match, because by the time he gets his dead ass down to the ring, they'll only have about 5 or 10 minutes to wrestle before the show needs to be over.
You know what? He could do some kind of amalgamation of all his entrances and come out on like a hell motorcycle or something like that, which I think would be fucking awesome.
With those bat wings, that'd be cool.
Here's the problem, though, is that every idea we have will still be cooler than what actually comes to fruition on Sunday night.
You know what, though? They step up their game with him, at least. And I think, obviously, they carted people down for the Royal Rumble, and he just ran off from the side and the lights went out. So they're cognitive to when and how they have to use him walking.
I think the one thing that I would really, really love to see, because William Moody, just before he passed away, had said, was that Undertaker kind of had it set in his mind that if and when, or not necessarily if, when he was ready to retire, he was going to bring back his old gimmick, which was the Undertaker with the purple or the grayish gloves.
Mm-hmm.
That ship kind of sailed for me a long time ago. I kind of just gave up wanting to see that, but it would be cool if he brought back one of his older gimmicks.
Just to hint at different things or different eras of Undertaker is, I think, like a cool way to acknowledge it all.
Well, as you said, amalgamation. I think it'd be cool if he had, say, the more gothic style looking outfit that he had 97, 98, or even in 99 when he had the Taker symbol on his chest with the gloves. And I mean, even incorporate, like if you do in terms of like his outfit, how he used to look in the early to late 90s, then you have his entrance be a throwback to the American Badass on the motorcycle with the bandana, sunglasses, whatever. I mean, Sean, have you any thoughts on your ideal final Undertaker entrance if this were in fact his last entrance?
I would want to hear his old 1997 music again. I would want there to be druids. He would need to come out in, kind of a high for his like 98 attire. It's his very first attire when he came in and everything. Maybe with those gray boots where they had that weird strap kind of going up the side or whatnot.
Yeah.
And all that. And, I don't know. Just on the Titantron instead of his regular, like, Titantron video or whatever. Just so highlights from beginning to now or whatnot.
I mean, I kind of like what they did at Survivor Series when him and Kane were against the Wyatt family. I mean, I still thought that was a really cool entrance with the giant coffin that just kind of kept transforming from the different gimmicks he had over his career.
Yeah, too bad that horrible.
Oh yeah, that was a complete waste of a match. But I mean, the entrance was still cool enough.
Yeah.
So
I think his exit music would have to be that piano version of this theme.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That badass. Yeah.
Now, do I even bother? Because I don't know how invested you guys are in Al Roker. And I'm not even going to even say what match he's, like, I guess, announced for. I think we're just all invested in Al Roker.
I'm buying the show specifically because of Al Roker.
I mean, until Al Roker was announced that he would be appearing in Mania, I had zero interest in it.
Al Roker is going to be at Mania. What?
Yeah, he's the guest ring announcer for the mixed tag team match.
What?
I'm just thinking in terms of WWE star power. Now you have John Cena, who's arguably becoming like neck and neck with The Rock as being a tour de force in Hollywood, and this is the best they could do for like star power.
I think he wanted to do it. I don't think it was. Yeah.
I don't give a shit if he wanted to do it. I'm just saying it's WrestleMania. Where's your star power? Didn't they bring back? Yeah, Pitbull's coming. Really?
Well, to be fair, I think Al Roker was probably Kevin Dunn's idea.
Now, I think we pretty much covered our bases with Mania. I mean,
yeah.
In terms of the cruiserweight, do we see Austin Aries taking the strap, or do we see Neville retain?
I kind of want Neville to retain, just because I like long title reigns where when somebody's finally dethroned, it's like a rewarding visual as opposed to let's have a good moment finally, and so let's do it at every other pay-per-view. I don't know.
So obviously we should probably move ahead here. I don't even know if we covered the whole card. I think
that's most of it.
Yeah, I think we got most of it. The Hall of Fame tonight, 8:00 on the network. Obviously that's why we're recording the show. For those of you listening, because it's not a live show, it's about 7:20. We're trying to get this, wrapped in the can before the Hall of Fame ceremony airs. Particular highlights for you guys? I mean, I know I'm just dying to hear what the man who bribed a judge $800 to get him out of a DUI bust is. What he has up his sleeve for his speech.
I am so excited to hear Jim Cornette. He is going to. He's going to steal the night. I guarantee it.
He's probably going to say so much shit just about the fact that he's there. Jim Cornette. That's all I'm interested in.
It's amazing.
Long, just so I can hear holla holla 1-on-1 with the Undertaker player.
All right, so
who's going to get the short end of the stick? Because they always have that one inductee that's like, "Hi, thanks for this. All right, good night."
I hate to say it, but I'm going to go DDP.
Oh, really?
I'm thinking Teddy Long and DDP. I think that Beth Phoenix is probably going to get a significant amount of time.
Yeah, I hope she's the quick one.
Oh my god, I still don't agree with her going in this soon.
No, I would have said Sable. That's probably feasibly possible. Sable is probably already at the venue, like with Brock. So it's like, you don't want to pick up a payday.
I think what shocks me more is you don't have Tori Wilson, you don't have Sable, you don't have Stacy Keibler. I mean, you don't have obviously Ivory, China. I mean, but that's still very controversial.
China, the one I get for the time being putting it off.
Right.
Something to explore down the road. I'm not opposed to that, but I think right now it's a little sensitive subject to them.
I mean, Victoria. I mean, there's a long list of divas and former women's champions that I just don't understand why Beth Phoenix now.
I could probably get behind Beth Phoenix if all those others were ahead of her, but it's not. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me right now. The timing of it is what doesn't make sense to me. If you showed me this in 10 years, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do that.
Well, I mean, do you guys think it has anything to do with the politics of the fact that Edge is her husband?
Sure, that has to play into it.
I mean, that's the only way I could honestly justify.
I'm sure they're like, well, if we have her inducted, we get Edge that weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
did they even say who was inducting her?
Natalia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I went back and looked. I was like, who are all the inductors? And there's some good ones.
Well, obviously Jim Cornette's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's the get. I'm a little disappointed that Cena got the nod for Angle. I was really hoping for Austin.
Well, I mean, it's WWE. They're going to basically call their shots how they want to do it.
Yeah, But I just figured that was a layup of like, why not give Austin a key position? You know, he can't wrestle, so why not have him there, advertised as being there, in a role that everybody wants to hear him talk.
Yeah. Well,
So-
maybe that's actually why they didn't give it to him.
Maybe.
Maybe they're trying to watch their asses because, I mean, I'm just who picked Jim Cornette and why? I'm not saying it like it's a bad thing. I'm just genuinely curious about this one.
I mean, there's the connection for the Rock and Roll Express, so I'm sure that they asked and threw it up the ladder and nobody seemed to probably have a problem with it. Or they probably said, you know what? People are going to tune in just for that.
I guarantee you that when Jim Cornette got the phone call, he was probably like, "What the fuck?"
Fuck you, Kevin Dunn.
Now,
Goodbye. Thank you very much. I hope you. There's a little thing right by saying that.
Fuck you, goodbye.
now who's actually inducting Rick Rude?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's doing it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. So we got Cena, Angle.
Yep.
Who did they say for DDP?
Bischoff.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it
that'll
should
be
be
interesting too. I like. You know what? I like listening to Eric talk. He's fun on the mic.
And I mean, if nothing else, it'll definitely be an interesting. And I am kind of curious about why they got rid of the celebrity wing this year.
Yeah, that one. I was scratching my head. I'm like, you couldn't find anybody? Fuck. Like, you have Al Roker there. I'm surprised they weren't like, all right, Al Roker, you're in the Celebrity Hall of Fame this year.
Well, I think I'm more disappointed because the two big ones for me were obviously Andy Kaufman and the second being Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to ruin.
Those make sense. Maybe they made the push for it and it just wasn't the time.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily think that Cyndi Lauper's day is going to be ruined by not being in the WWE Hall of Fame, but
Sure.
you know, I'm sure she'd be flattered if they asked her, but I don't necessarily. And of course, I think it'd be bittersweet too if Roddy Piper wasn't there to induct her.
Yeah, but you can. What is it? Wendy Richter is still alive, so you could have her do it.
That's true. That is true.
So you got some names. I mean, you don't have Moolah, you don't have Captain Lou, so it's essentially getting to that point where if you ever want to do this, the time is now to kind of capitalize on it.
Right. All right, moving ahead here. Because we're getting towards the last, 10 or 11 minutes of the show. NXT Takeover.
I'm looking forward to it. Not as much as last year, but I think that it's going to be fun.
I have no idea what's going on. I couldn't even tell you last an NXT show.
Top billing, obviously, is Shinsuke and Bobby Roode. Always fun to watch Shinsuke, so.
I honestly, it's funny because it's so weird because the two products I'm a bigger fan of are the two things that I don't watch as religiously as Raw. And I don't know if it's indoctrinated in my mind to never miss a Monday Night Raw.
I think that's what it is.
But I feel that SmackDown has the better roster and has, frankly, the better storylines going forward right now.
Oh, I agree. Totally.
And same thing with NXT. I think the talent in NXT, I think they're stacked with the talent. I think the matches are phenomenal. I mean, obviously, some of the gimmicks could use work. I'm not the biggest fan of No Way Jose. And not even him as a wrestler. I think that's just the lamest gimmick I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Who the hell is that?
He's
No Way Jose.
Dominican guy that like dances and
I love Jason's
he's
summary.
I don't know. He's like the
Rikishi. He's the Dominican one. He's the one that dances.
I don't know. He's you describe him.
I just kind of described him as like almost like a more eccentric Carlito.
Yeah.
If that's a fair description. He's another one I would love to see. But I'm because Sean jokes about Shelton Benjamin because Shelton Benjamin's now clear to compete again, and I'm kind of curious if they're actually gonna go back and try to get Shelton Benjamin back on SmackDown, or if that one's just gonna kind of go by the wayside. But I digress because this has nothing to do with NXT.
You got the 3-way tag title match, which should be fun. I'm a big fan of DIY.
I really, really like them.
They're so good. They're going to be so great when they finally get to the roster.
And not that it's like,
they're just likable guys, naturally likable guys.
not that this is going to get us any like traffic to the site or to the show. And like, I'm like breaking it, like it's breaking news. Totally found out Shinsuke's a cigarette smoker.
Oh yeah.
A guy that works at a convenience store I go to when I get cigarettes or whatever was wearing a Shinsuke shirt because, I'd seen the back of his hoodie. I'm like, oh, is that a Shinsuke hoodie? He was like, oh yeah, man. And I guess he went to the NXT show in Lowell. And naturally, afterwards, him and his girlfriend went to Kowloon. And I guess Shinsuke was outside smoking butts because it was NXT, no fans were there.
Ugh, I wish I would have walked over.
I was going to say, keep this in mind, Jason. Yeah, so I guess there was virtually no one there because, NXT is awesome, but it's not. Sean's a pretty big wrestling fan. And, for the same reason I probably don't keep up with NXT. It has nothing to do with the actual product itself.
No.
It's just that when NXT. Well, first off, I'm like indoctrinated over so many goddamn years of watching it. Monday Night Raw is the flagship show. That's wrestling.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrestling has always been on Monday nights, but also when NXT first came out, it was like a glorified American Gladiator show.
Sure.
So now that they decided like, oh, let's make it a wrestling show, it's just one of those, like it's Wednesday night, I'm like, oh, NXT's on, but there's still like that weird aversion to it because I'm just like, oh yeah, NXT sucks, and it's like, wait a second, no, it doesn't.
The takeover specials are really what you watch it for. Like, I don't make it destination viewing to watch every Wednesday night, but if I know something's happening, like I'll kind of get wind. Oh, I'll check this episode out or check that episode out. But I don't know. I only really watch the takeover specials now.
Right.
It has lost something in the last year. It lost all its stars essentially.
Well, yeah, because they've been cherry picking the biggest stars of NXT to go to the main roster, while obviously the ones that don't make it to the main roster are on NXT still for a reason.
Yeah.
I would love to see Sanity though. Just everything about that group I just loved.
Yep.
From like just the music, the package, just everything. I'm really, really pulling for those guys to make an appearance on the main roster. So if for nothing else, just because it's such a cool gimmick and it's just such a cool group of guys.
There's a similar guy debuting from England. His real name's Tommy End, but they repackaged him as something black. I can't remember his first name, but he's supposed to be like that gothic kind of. I don't know. I bet you guys would dig him. He's going to be on the Takeover show actually.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
So,
what else? Just out of curiosity, the whole was it the United Kingdom title?
Yeah.
Are they doing anything with that?
It actually was defended at there's a company called Progress Wrestling, and they had a show in Orlando, and WWE let them defend the belt.
Really?
So it's a slow burn. I think it's gonna be like this item that just gets passed around to smaller companies, and you kind of maybe you'll follow one guy from show to show as he defends it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a genius way of using it. Because then you can have the Japanese title. You can have the, Mexico title.
It's a cool enough concept. It's just, to me, I would like to see it be more than just like a kind of a gimmicky, like the WWE Network goes back to England and okay, we're gonna do this now.
I do like that they've kept it like separate. It's not like, oh, and you're drafted to SmackDown, so now this is just another championship. This is the European Championship.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't mean anything. It's just this blank slate. So it's like, at least, okay, you're working towards doing something with this, obviously. You haven't just relegated to a show and forgotten about it. So I kind of like that they've kept it off TV.
Yeah. And that's
Oh, you know what we did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Finish up.
Oh no, I was like midway through a brain fart of a thought. So.
No, I was gonna say we didn't actually talk about the Shane and AJ match.
I don't exactly know where I'm at with that one.
It could be great. I don't think it will be, but AJ gives me confidence that, you know what, I could be wrong. So,
Sean, you have any thoughts on that one?
I just know there's going to be a big spot with Shane McMahon, and that'll be like the highlight of it.
Yeah.
I think I was hoping for so much more for AJ at his second WrestleMania that
I was so looking forward to. I'm like, they're gonna pull the trigger and we're gonna get Finn Balor and AJ.
That would have
because
been
it
cool.
lined up. It would have been so amazing. You would have had the outside stuff of like, the Bullet Club. Like people would be like, "Oh, who's who?" You could have done shit where you grabbed Gallows and Anderson. Maybe they're playing around outside. You don't know who they're gonna help. You could have grabbed like the Bullet Club actually from New Japan and be like, "Here's tickets for front row if you want to come sit."
I mean, that would have been. I just feel like for WWE, they're more concerned with WWE than they are with anything outside of the WWE universe, so to speak.
Sure, but in terms of like creating that like one match, the fans are going to be like, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't expect them to do this.
Yeah,
I think that would have been the place to do it.
No, I mean, I absolutely agree. I think that would have been awesome. I just feel like Vince is set in his ways. I feel like Triple H probably would have been down for trying something like that, considering that he's instrumental in bringing all those guys in.
Yeah.
I just, I still think that Vince is still very much set in his ways.
Sure.
Which is really, really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still, I mean, God, what was it? What was the former ring announcer? He's releasing a book, or he's just about to put out a book.
Oh, Justin Roberts?
Yeah.
No, is that it? Yeah.
He was actually saying that basically that's kind of how he was writing about how stifled that the creative staff at WWE are. And pretty much a lot of fans were just so bummed. Just so bummed because they were just like, yeah, that sounds about right, actually. But I mean, going forward, post Mania, I mean, do you guys have any predictions for what's going to happen in terms of?
I'm interested to see how like the Triple H, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens kind of relationship evolves.
Right.
I hope there's some kind of like stable thing with all those guys. So.
No, I mean, going ahead here, I mean, any bold sort of like, because following Mania, you kind of get into that doldrum of wrestling, which of course they try to, kind of gain momentum leading into SummerSlam. It may be too early to call, but do either of you have a bold prediction for this year's SummerSlam main event?
I'm going to say Finn versus Brock because I want to see that. I feel like that to them is like a safe SummerSlam main event.
Right.
I think.
Any thoughts on that one, Sean?
I couldn't even tell you. I still watch the product, but I'm not as heavily invested in it. I'd be like, oh, I want to see this. I want to see that. Lately, it's been, okay, when are you gonna, surprise me with something? Because,
kind of more like a fair weather fan kind of deal.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, I can't necessarily blame you because, I mean, again, if you're really only following Raw, which for the most part, I will say, even as a big fan, I've been getting better at watching SmackDown, but I mean, for the most part, it's mainly Raw, and Raw has just been such a dumpster fire of a show.
Yeah.
It really has. It's just been so disappointing. But
yes.
Yes. So, I mean, so do either of you guys have any closing thoughts regarding Hall of Fame tonight, which should be in about a half hour, a little less than that, or the event itself?
I'm just looking forward to it. Like I typically do now enjoy the Hall of Fame ceremony. The previous years, it's kind of lackluster for me, but it's great to see Kurt Angle on WWE TV again.
I will say, great performer, excellent wrestler, terrible human being. If it's fair to say that, I personally, I think it is.
Not an ideal person. He's got his merits. He's got his faults.
probably more faults than merits. I will have to say that. But
Sure.
I mean, I'm definitely I will be at least be looking for. I mean, not well. Speaking of Raw, before we wrap up, the vacancy left by Mick Foley as the general manager of Raw. Do we see Angle potentially stepping in and taking that over?
I think it works if he does. It gets him back on TV, and then from there you can kind of build towards a match. A match. I don't want to see him back full time. If he had, I don't know. I don't want to say the young. I'm trying to think of like a name. Maybe a Jericho, less than a Jericho, more than a Triple H.
Yeah.
Schedule.
I want to see Commissioner Slaughter again.
That's only because I think Sean is just hoping that if Slaughter gets back into like the mainstream, somehow it'll like revive G.I. Joe, and then we'll get the Sergeant Slaughter of G.I. Joe back.
Yes.
You said the
Do you mean G.I. Joe, the animated series, or are we talking about another G.I. Joe?
Are we talking about the G.I. Joe man more specifically?
Oh, G.I. Joe man. Sorry.
God, if that would ever come back, that's the sign of the end of time. Because then side gimmick is a skater boy. Whoops.
See, here's the thing: you never quite get away from G.I. Joe, man. It's just not possible. I mean,
That's always that's your gimmick for life.
Well, what I'm really hoping for next year's Hall of Fame, obviously, there's so many great names that you go in, but I'm gonna cast my ballot now. All right, guys, and I'm dead serious. This is a very serious moment for me. I'm gonna petition for Joe G.I. Joe Man Maloney to be inducted into the WWE class of 2018.
I'm putting that Photoshop together tonight, right?
And who I'm hoping inducts him is none other than the Stoneham Stunner. Oh, none of you were kids with us when we did backyard wrestling, so you have no concept of how awful these gimmicks are.
Well, because of Jason saying, you get that gimmick for life, I just thought of something. G.I. Joe Man is our federation's equivalent of Doink.
There's your graphic for the show, Jason. It's a picture of Joe Maloney as G.I. Joe with the equal sign Doink the Clown.
Yeah.
I mean, to Doink's credit, at least he had some badass cameos and some cool ass WWF at the time related video games. So, I mean, if you could even entertain how cool it would be to have G.I. Joe Man in the WrestleMania the arcade game.
What a maneuver!
And anytime that's uttered, it's just when Joe stands up.
Shut your mouth.
Oh, man.
I broke Sean.
Well, see, the reason why it's so funny for these two, or specifically Sean, is because Sean had to work with G.I. Joe Man in 2 backyard wrestling promotions.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. Shut your mouth.
Okay, Jason, you really need to, excavate some of your old, because I know mine are.
I'll pull them out.
Mine are just in the abyss. There's no evidence that I even had a backyard wrestling federation. However, you are the conduit between us, the listeners, and the G.I. Joe Man.
Yeah, I'll unearth that shit.
So if you're listening to the show right now, all 2 of you.
Yeah, you got to tweet me though.
You have to
tweet me if I get a couple tweets.
You have to tweet.
I'll release those.
You have to tweet Jason # bring us the G.I. Joe Man. Let me repeat that. # bring us the G.I. Joe Man. You want to hear the worst part? And of course, the show. We'll do our but I do have to state this because this was just brilliant. So when Jason and I, we've touched upon this in the Marks Off commentary special, there was a point where my group of people tried to bring Jason in, and we're going to try and recruit Jason's people. Somehow, some way, there was a turncoat in my federation, if you will. And it's funny enough, he was not only a turncoat, but he was a fat guy in a little coat. And his name was G.I. Joe Man. I mentioned the fat guy thing because so Joe was trying to be sneaky, and we were filming in Nick Gregory's backyard. Now this kid Nick Gregory was literally 2 houses down from Joe. And Joe sold us his whole line of BS about how he was sick, he couldn't make the show, whatever. We saw him on his bicycle in his army fatigues, trying to look very inconspicuous, so like thinking we wouldn't see him. So we had a package prepared for him with a television screen that would show the whole neighborhood. This package where it was that year China had just posed nude in Playboy, and we had photoshopped Joe's head on China's naked body and blasted fat guy in a little coat. Over the course of the show, I think we did 6 or 7 times. That was our equivalent of like guerrilla warfare to smoke Joe out of his house. Now, if that gets a mess now, I mean, granted, I know he's married and has 2 kids, but he does drive around in a nondescript cop car as a news stringer. I can't help but feel partially responsible for his fate. So that is why I'm going to be the bigger man here, and I'm going to not only get the footage of this iconic, and I mean that with utmost sincerity, this iconic performer, and also get him into the 2018 class of the WWE Hall of Fame.
Will you indeed induct him?
And again, still,
We should try for him to get the Warrior Award.
the what award?
The Warrior Award.
Or, oh my God, even better. Let's not even have him inducted as a performer. Let's get him inducted as a warrior. Well, on that note, this has been Mark's on Commentary. I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
I just kind of stumbled in here, but my name's Sean.
I love how Sean already missed his cue.
And to reiterate, we will be back really soon. We're going to have like a production studio to work out of very shortly. So the future looks bright for the show.
So bright that we have to wear shades.
Is that it?